All right, so if you look at this reference photo and you think to yourself, oh man, if I painted that, it would just be a big jumbled mess of greens. I don't even know where to start. And you're really gonna like this video because I'm gonna show you how and what I did to make this an eye-pleasing landscape so that you can do it in your own paintings. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. My name is Chris Fornatero and I'm here to help simplify oil painting so that you can get better faster. All right, so in order to paint this eye-pleasing landscape, I'm going to be using 4 things: composition, value masses, depth, and structure. Now, first off, I just want to say that when it comes to painting landscape, especially from photos, you can't copy the photo exactly. I always like to say that you have to translate the scene into a painting. And during that translation process, you have to organize the scene so the viewer knows what's going on. Your ability to organize the chaos that nature throws at you into a painting is what is going to make your painting pleasing to the eye. And the first way you're going to organize things is with composition. Now, there's a lot to talk about with composition, but I always suggest that the first thing you do is figure out what you want to emphasize in the scene. Like, what do you want the scene to be about? And the best way to do this is to figure it out with little quick thumbnail sketches. Let's take this scene for example. There is a composition that emphasizes these trees and they take up the most space on the canvas. There's a composition that emphasizes the house and that takes up the most space in the scene. And then there's one where the field takes up the most space in the scene, and that's the one that I chose to do here. The last thing you want to do is give an equal amount of space to the trees, an equal amount of space to the field, an equal amount of space to the sky, because then nothing's that interesting. It's like having a movie without a main character. Now, if you're like me, you like examples, so I'll give you another example. This stream here, when I took this photo, there was a lot more trees in the original photo, but I decided to crop it down and focus mainly on this water in the front. And I wanted that to take up the most space because that was the most interesting to me. All right, one more quick example. This photo I took here in Honduras, I wanted to emphasize the mountains, so I made sure they took up the most space. Now, once I have that done, I want to figure out the composition of value masses or value shapes. I like to break my compositions down into 3 values: a dark, a mid-tone, and a light. Value shapes are the first thing a viewer detects. You know, if you walked into a gallery or museum and you see a painting from across the room, the first thing you're going to pick up on are these value masses. There's a lot more to get into with these value shapes, but I feel like the most important thing is that you want things to be dynamic, meaning you don't want a lot of the same size value shapes. I always say you want things to be dynamic, but also balanced. An example in this painting here, I have this big dark shape on the bottom half of the canvas. So I wanted to make sure that I counter it with some darker shapes on the top of the canvas. But I don't want those shapes to be close in size to the bottom. I want balance, but I want dynamic balance. Now, as far as a focal point, I want my focal point to be the only area where my darkest dark and my lightest light touch. And in this one, it's the house. I have this light value in the house touching the dark value of the trees behind it. This creates high contrast and it gives the viewer's eye a point to get to. If you have a whole bunch of areas of high contrast, the viewer's eye is not going to know where to go, and it's going to make the experience of viewing it seem chaotic and not pleasing to the eye. Here's a simplified example of what I'm talking about. On the left here, I have a scene with a lot of areas of high contrast, a lot of areas where lightest light and darkest dark are touching. And it's kind of a chaotic experience looking at it. But the one on the right, I only have one area where that happens. So it gives you a single point to get to as a viewer. You'll see this a lot in paintings that you like, especially from master painters. And now that you know about it, you can look for it. So next time you see a painting from a master or a painter that you like, look to see if this is happening. Like, try and find the focal point, squint your eyes, or take a photo of the painting, put it in black and white, and see if you can find the area of highest contrast. Here's another example of what I'm talking about with one of my paintings. I have this big dark shape here, and then it's countered with a bunch of smaller, darker shapes. And my focal point is the area of highest contrast, which is right here. And now there's a lot more to get into with composition. That's why I've made a free mini composition course. In it, I'll show you how I go about choosing a photo for a landscape, how I go about doing these sketches and finding the value shapes and composing a good scene so I don't waste a painting on a bad composition. If you want to check that out, the link to get that is in the description of this video. All right, now the next thing that I use to make an eye-pleasing composition is depth. Now with landscapes, there are levels to a landscape, and sometimes you yourself as the artist have to create these levels or clearly identify these levels if they are not in your reference. And so for this one, there's different levels. There's the sky, and then there are the trees in front of the sky, and then there's this next level of trees, then there's the house, and then there's this field. Now, this photo is actually doing a good job of distinguishing the distance between these two sets of trees. The trees in the distance are definitely a lot cooler and a little more faded or sitting in the distance more, but I'm still gonna have to enhance that and be aware of the things that I can do to create distance. And the three things that I can do to create distance are: one, using cool colors, pushing things more blue, certain purples, certain greens. The next thing I can do is desaturate color. If I have trees way in the distance, the color isn't gonna be as saturated and rich as, say, a tree standing a few feet in front of me. And the last thing I can use, which I feel like is used the least among students, is soft edges. As things get further away, they get less and less crisp, and you want paint and shapes to blend together more. Especially with trees, trees aren't solid objects. There's leaves and they're moving and there's gaps between the leaves. So I want to make sure that I am manipulating edges to communicate distance. Because if I don't do that, if I don't separate these two levels of trees, they're going to be competing with one another. And it's going to be confusing to the viewer's eye, not very pleasing to look at. Now, the next thing I'm going to use to create this eye-pleasing landscape is structure. Now, whenever I have a field like this, whether it's grass or crop or anything, bushes in a desert, I want to construct the form first. And a lot of times I like to think of this grass, not really as grass, but more of a platform. And the plane facing up towards the sky is going to get the most light, and the side walls of the platform are going to be darker. And you can see in this painting here, just doing that, just communicating the form, the field is already reading, and you're getting the sense of volume and that it's actually there. A lot of times I see students that go into painting a field and they think that the trick is just to paint as many individual crops or blades of grass and getting as much detail and shapes in there as they can. And really, it's kind of the opposite. You kind of want to simplify things more. A good example of this is the painting that I did in my Landscape 101 course. I had this big field around this stream, and to show my students how to paint this, I blocked it in as if it was like a platform. I always thought it looked kind of like a golf course or something, but doing that first and establishing that form made sure it stayed when I did go in and find more detail and more shapes and cut back in to that boxy platform and make it look like grass. Coming back to this painting, I did the exact same thing, and I kept my darkest darks at the bottom of the crops where there is the least amount of light. I also made sure to keep those darks up close. Coming back to distance, the further away you get from the viewer, the less dark things are going to be. So it wouldn't make sense to have really dark, rich darks far in the distance in this field. Are you starting to see how it's not about copying the photo exactly? It's about translating the photo. Because I know that in the photo, you probably can see, a lot of darks far away in the field, but you have to know certain things about composing a scene and translating the scene to make it pleasing to the eye. Now, when it comes to the flowers in the field, I am very aware of distance. Meaning, when I'm doing flowers that are up close, I'm getting more specific and smaller with the shapes. Also more crisp with the shapes, more saturated with the color. But as I put in flowers deeper in the field, I'm making them less saturated. I'm making them bigger shapes. I'm giving them softer edges and allowing them to blend into the crops more. I'm not worrying about trying to paint every single flower that I see. So by adhering to these 4 things, I can get to a final painting that reads and is pleasing to the eye. The composition is clear. It's clear where I want the viewer's eye to get to because of the composition and my focal point. And I've created that focal point by having the only area in the painting of high contrast be that focal point. I've made sure to distinguish very specific levels of depth with the landscape by changing the color, the saturation of that color, the contrast, the edges, being aware of that at each level. And I've also created form. With this field, I've added in detailed, but I didn't get rid of that initial form that I blocked out. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you're less intimidated to dive into landscapes and you can start painting your own eye-pleasing landscapes. Again, if you want to get the free composition course, link to that is in the description of this video. If you want to see what I'm painting on a daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.